to the Bro Zone, the ultimate garage setup for checking out the big game.
70-inch TV? Check. Surround sound? Check. Mini fridge fully stocked? Check.
But a legendary Bro Zone needs legendary snacks.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky.
Load up on Alberta's best beef jerky. It's the perfect game day companion when you're watching from the ultimate fan cave.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky, because you can't have summer fun with salad. Only available in Leduc.
Action Electrical Solar Team is now making a play for sustainability and savings. They're specialists in powering up for a greener future.
That's the strategy. Designing and installing high-efficiency solar panels. They're helping homes and businesses combat rising utility costs by harnessing the power of the sun.
A smart move for efficiency and the environment. Hire the Action Electrical Team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Tee up at the 2026 Golf-a-thon presented by Popeye Supplements June 19th at Rundle Park, supporting the University Hospital Foundation. Play 1, 2, 3, even 4 rounds of golf. GoTrackSocialClub.com.
Alberta is growing, but our highways are crumbling. Are you tired of the rough ride? In the last 15 years, our population has grown with hundreds of thousands more cars and trucks on our highways. Today, more than 15% of Alberta's highways are in poor condition. Cutting highway maintenance doesn't save money. It makes repairs more expensive. Don't let the government ignore the problem. Your MLA works for you. Tell them to fix our roads. Visit fixourroads.com for more information.
A message from the Alberta Road Builders and Heavy Construction Association.
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Welcome to the Lowdown. Today's show, the plot thickens for Mike Babcock and the Edmonton Oilers. This is a soap opera. Plus, is this the Stanley Cup final that is the best of this century? It might be. An NBA final takes center stage with referees who hear no evil, speak no evil, and see no evil. What a wild ride it is. Lowdown with Lowetide brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick on Sports 1440 and YouTube. Wolf GMC Buick, family owned and community driven. We're making it easy. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com. Our headliner of the day at 1 o'clock today is Kevin McCurdy. We'll have declinations as well coming up at 1:40 today. We're live on Sports 1440, Radio Player Canada, and iHeartRadio after the show. We're on Apple and Spotify podcast, and we tweet out the entire show on X as well later on today. We're on Twitter at Lowetide, at Declan Krueger, and JFenwick04. And you can text us anytime, 833-401-1440. That's 833-401-1440. Oh, yes. The Babcock hiring takes center stage again today. Stanley Cup final as well. NBA final. We'll talk a little bit about the Toronto Blue Jays and, of course, CFL week number 2 on the way. First, though, it's time for the introductions. Last we heard, he had one toonie dog, one churro dog, and a helmet of nachos at the ballpark. And we're hoping for an update. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Josh Fenwick. Josh Fenwick, everybody.
And here's the nacho helmet.
Oh, it's lovely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty swaggy.
Now, what color is that? It looks like light blue to me.
Yes, it is light blue, as a matter of fact. Okay. So, yeah, it was a great day down at the game. Great eats. Thank you to the Riverhawks for having us out. Shout out to Mackenzie for setting that all up for us as well. Tough game for the Hawks. Lose 4-0. 3 hits only for them.
Man, that's tough. And it's an offensive league, so that's great pitching on the other side.
And so, you need that. That being said, to all of you who took the under for how many more toonie dogs I would eat, you would be correct. Because when I went to the concession, they only had one. Said, can I get 4 toonie dogs, please? And they said, we only have one.
Yeah.
All right, fine.
Well, I think what happened there was they saw you coming. And they're like, oh, this guy again.
They might have heard me coming, actually.
It's like the Romulans. They're always there. Okay.
Exactly.
Anyway, you had a good time, and what a great time at the ballpark.
Great time at the ballpark. Great sponsors of the station. And yes, very much looking forward to getting out there again.
All right. He believes the first miracle of this year's World Cup is Lionel Messi eating a brisket sandwich in Auburn, Alabama. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Declan Krueger. Declan Krueger, everybody.
Well, what's funny about that is that obviously Messi's playing the MLS right now with Inter Miami. So when he first joined the club, there were videos of him shopping at, like, I don't know what it was, like Trader Joe's or Buc-ee's or something. And everyone was kind of astounded that this guy was just at an American supermarket filling up on American food. So he is well versed in brisket sandwiches by this point, I would say.
Well, I think it's pretty cool that they're seeing America, and then they're going to, beat America at the World Cup. How well do you think the North American teams will do in the World Cup?
I got to check out what groups, who's in the States and Mexico's group. I do think Canada will get out of the group stage just because I think it's a very weak group. But I think there's probably kind of that thing that happens with tournaments like this where nationalistic pride and emotion takes over a little bit. Like, I don't think Canada's squad is that great. And you could make an argument, like when you look at Canada, the top 10 best Canadian players, you could make an argument like 4 of them aren't going to be ready or aren't playing in this tournament with injury, stuff like that. So I do think Canada gets out of the group stage, but I think that's product of a weak group. I don't think they're a real threat in the knockout stage. But listen, you've scored like fair. 1 goal ever, right? Yeah. So just getting out of the group stage and winning games is huge.
Yeah, and it's going to be fun to cheer for them.
Yes.
There's no doubt about it. I always cheer for Holland, Netherlands, because I'm Dutch. And I imagine that everybody has a second team who's in North America, or maybe they don't, but it's going to be a fun time. All right. I'm going to talk a little bit again, and I apologize if you're bored with it, but this is a major story with lots of different, there's wrinkles, and it's marbled through NHLPA, NHL head office, Edmonton Oilers, up and down the line. So Frank Saravalli, a couple of hours ago, tweeted this out. If Oilers select to continue down the path with Mike Babcock, sources say NHLPA is in receipt of significant additional claims. Okay, I have no idea what that means, but it sounds a little bit sinister for sure. And from their own investigation with players that were not publicly reported in 2023, and he came over the top of that tweet and said, furthermore, sources indicate that asking players to see photos is not what ultimately resulted in Babcock's resignation. It was the subsequent unknown allegation reported below that cost Babcock his job in Columbus with the Blue Jackets. So the story, it's like unpeeling an onion, where you're kind of, oh, there's another one. There's layers and layers and layers of this, and we're not there yet. We're to understand the investigation is underway. I think most of us in the local media believe the Edmonton Oilers will get their man, that Mike Babcock will become the coach of the Edmonton Oilers, or do we? Declan, do you feel that way?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a pretty good. Like, what can I possibly add? I think it's a pretty good breakdown.
But do you think he'll be the coach, or do you think this will derail?
No, I think he'll. Oh, no. I think he'll be the coach. Sorry, did you not say that part? Sorry, I misheard.
Just wanted you to confirm that you believe that. Yeah, okay.
I do. I absolutely do. The only thing that's standing in the way is the NHLPA getting involved in, vetoing it, and I don't know the legalities in that capacity. But the other thing is, like, as much as we all want to sit here and talk about Mike Babcock, and the thing in Columbus is what's going to be the hindrance. Mm-hmm. There was no physical abuse. There was no sexual abuse. Now, obviously, it wasn't a great situation, but if you really want to dig into the letter of the law, what it comes down to is, like, you didn't necessarily break any legal rules where we can now stop you from earning a living. So that's why I think he'll be the coach. For sure.
And I think that whatever the Saravalli quotes are, we don't know. We can't assume that those, whatever the actions were by Babcock that were implied in those 2 tweets, we can't assume that they were, beyond any, pale, or they may just have been, moral issues or whatever the case may be, or more of the same. But we'll have to wait and see. And I think that right now, Mike Babcock being introduced as the head coach of the Edmonton Oilers is, I'm not going to say inevitable, but it appears as though it's on the way. Do you agree with that, Josh?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this franchise is on a string of incredibly stupid decisions So hire Mike Babcock, make it official once the NHL comes back and says, well, we can't find anything that says like he shouldn't be a head coach, but we highly advise against it, or the NHLPA being rude to your arena workers and young players and all this stuff. And it's like there's nothing, like Declan said, to the letter of the law. There's technically nothing wrong with that. The guy's just an asshole.
I got a text from a buddy.
Sure.
Yesterday, and he said, if you were talking about a smart organization, wouldn't you think the Oilers are using the threat of Babcock to force Bettman on Vegas and Cassidy? I don't think the Oilers would run that way. Like they appear to be now focused on Babcock, and whether Cassidy shakes loose or not, I think Babcock is the guy. But it's an interesting thought, and it has been expressed in other places that maybe this is an end around or a giant up yours from the organization. I don't believe it to be true, but it's out there and a thought that people have had.
I don't believe that to be true either. Also, I don't know how many of the strings Stan Bowman here is pulling. I think it's a lot of Daryl Cates. Like it was reported that Babcock met with Cates.
Yeah, I'm sure. There's in the article I have up at The Athletic today, there's a 2015 passage from Elliot Friedman. When they hired Todd McClellan, Babcock was about to be in the mix, and there may have been conversations. So I'm absolutely certain every level of management is familiar with and knows Mike Babcock. So this would be a reset or a coming together of people who have spoken about a job previously, I believe. So the relationship would go all the way back, and I suspect Cates and Bowman and obviously the players, we have confirmation, they've talked at length to Mike Babcock. I think they've settled on him.
Guess so.
Yeah. And so what that means, I think, is we'll get an announcement here probably in the next few days. We'll see how long the investigation goes. There's no real word on how long it will be. I felt I still think this might be the best Stanley Cup final of this century. I think 2024 was a great one. It really was fantastic. And I don't expect you guys to go through the windmills of your mind and come up with the best year of the final, and I don't expect us to say 2006 or 2004, although it was a great one. They just gave the cup to the wrong team. Do you think this is among the best Stanley Cup finals of this century? And do you have another candidate? Mine is 2024.
No, I think you're probably right with both of those. I mean, I really enjoyed the 2019 final. That went to Game 7. Blues caught fire. It was sort of like the Cinderella run. That was a lot of fun. But like, this is like, yesterday we're sitting at the game and the Duke says, "Oh, look, Carolina's already scored." I'm like, "Oh, so the Knights are winning." Like, like the leads aren't safe in this series. I think this is the first time that, or no, actually, because the Knights gave up the 4 goals, and then still ended up winning. But like, I was like, yeah, okay, I don't care how many goals the Hurricanes go up by. Like, it's going to be a 1-goal game by the end of this, and that it was until the empty netter by Nick Ehlers. But yeah, this is an all-time classic we're watching.
Do you agree with that, Declan? And I'll post on another tack on another question there. Best of 3 here. Do you have a team that you would favor in this best of 3?
Yeah, well, first of all, I do think it's one of the best Stanley Cup finals of this century. I think 2024 is up there as well, because obviously the blown 3-0 lead, it goes to Game 7. There's nothing better in a Game 7 than sports. The other one I would add that I think is right up there that had a little bit of everything was the Boston-Vancouver series in 2011.
Yeah.
Because Vancouver blows a 2-0 lead and they're up 3-2 in that series. There was an 8-1 game in there. That one obviously goes to 7. Now, granted, Game 7 it was a little bit more one-sided, which isn't always something you want to see in a Game 7, but that would be the other one I would add. And then who do I like in a best of 3 in this series? Like, I can't get over the mental hurdle. And maybe this is just on me. You guys can call me out if it is, but I just can't get over the mental hurdle and I know they changed their coach, and I know they brought in a new goaltender, and I know things shot through the roof once Torts got there, but I can't get over the fact of thinking at any point I'm going to pick a 39-win team to win a best of 7, best of 5, best of 3 1-game series against a team like Carolina, who is an incredible team and has been the absolute poster boys of knocking on the door, not just getting it done. So I'm going to favor Carolina, but who knows? Anything really can happen.
Yeah, and I think that sometimes we get caught up in regular season records, but I think that for a team like Vegas and certainly for Edmonton as well, you reach a point where you're there so often and you expect to be there. The regular season is sort of like an exhibition series, and one of the things you have to do as a professional is take it seriously. I don't think the Oilers did this year, and I think it did cost them. Not winning the division cost them, and Vegas was just serious enough to win the division and get through, and they've gotten the goaltending, and the coaching change helped a lot too. One thing I always remember about that Vancouver Boston Bruins Game 7 is that the Bruins scored first. And I remember Don Cherry after the first period saying something like, I feel bad for Vancouver, and Ron McLean saying, why do you feel bad? He goes, well, Bruins scored first. Once you go down in a game, it is so hard, a Game 7, it's so hard to get it back again. And, we saw that again in 2024. I believe I'm right in that Florida scored the first goal of that game, and then they ended up tied it, and then Florida won it in the second, or scored the winning goal in the second period, and then there were no more goals. So giving up that first goal in Game 7 is huge. We'll see. I think it will go to a Game 7, and I did predict that, so I'm not changing my prediction. All right, NBA final. I mentioned at the top of the show just the idea that one would hope we'll get a little less sinister officiating, and I know that nobody believes it decided the game, but it would be nice to see a more of a straight up kind of a game where things are called at least a little more evenly. And I know that's a slippery slope, because then you get into a period where maybe you're not calling fouls in this game to favor the Knicks, and then that's no good either. You're putting your finger on the scale again. But what's your expectation of the NBA final game number 4?
First of all, I don't think the officiating was as bad as you're making it out to be. It wasn't great. Like I said, it was
and it was one-sided.
No, you're right. It was one-sided, and there were missed calls. And I'm saying this is a guy I'm not even cheering for the Shield. I'm cheering for great basketball. I want San Antonio to win. Like, point blank period. I want San Antonio to win. And yes, it was called in favor of San Antonio and against New York. But I just don't think it's as egregious as you're making it out to be. But that's besides the point. Tonight, Josh, listen, when I watch these games, man, I just think New York's a better team. Mm-hmm. And I think New York beats themselves. And I think San Antonio, obviously I think Wemby is now the best player in the world. I think he is going to have a career that puts him in the GOAT conversation. He's arguably, you could make the argument after 3 seasons of playing basketball, if he never touches the court again, he's the best defender we've ever seen in the history of the NBA. He's incredible. They got some great young players, but their deficiencies, I think I overlooked because I was so in love with who Wemby is as a player and what they can do offensively, like Steph Castle, Dylan Harper. And Steph Castle's great defensively as well. But when I watch the Knicks play, I just think that's a better team. They have more of an identity, which is maybe a little bit shocking. They do have a game-breaking scorer. And you know what? Even if Jalen Brunson's a pylon out there, more often than not, you're going to have 3 really good defenders on the court with him. And when the Knicks lose a game, to me, it feels like they beat themselves. And they drop game 3 at home. They're still at home for game 4. I think they win it, and I think they take a 3-1 lead. I still think they win this series, and I would never have said that before the NBA Finals began. But watching these two teams play for 3 games, and granted, I know game 2 was close, and it could have gone the Spurs' way. It didn't, and I know the Spurs won game 3. I now feel watching that New York is a better team.
There you go. Do you concur?
I could agree that, yes, I think New York has been the better team. I even had the same thought, but I would say that the Spurs also beat themselves at times. Game 2 is an excellent example where you have a 7'4" guy and the last shot of the game was not at the rim. It was 19 feet away or whatever his mid-range shot was. I think they're both trying to outthink each other and not sticking to their games. Now, that being said, San Antonio is they're the better defensive team in this series because you've been able to hold Jalen Brunson to, I think he's at a 32.7 effective field goal percentage through the entirety of the series. It's not good. He has as many turnovers as he has assists. So you are stifling that guy. And if he can't get the ball to a guy like Cat can't really break the game either. So then, yes, OG Anunoby had a great game, and I think that OG Anunoby is a great player, as is Mikal Bridges. These are all guys who at one point or another have been a number 1 on a team. Bottoming team, yes, but they have all been a number 1 on a team, so they know how to make shots at the end of the game. I still believe in the Spurs in them winning. Would I be shocked if New York won in 5? Absolutely not. Because again, I agree with Deck. They are probably through and through the better team. But I think if the Spurs, you don't know what you don't know. Steph Castle had a great comeback game in Game 3. To show up in Madison Square Garden when
he also played pretty badly for some large stretches of it.
Yeah, but also like he basically got to the rim at will, and he hits that huge 3 at the end of the game from the hash mark. Like I think this is going to go a while. I don't think the Knicks are going to win in 5. Again, I would not be surprised if they did.
It's going to be an interesting game for sure, and obviously an interesting series. Dylan Cease, by the way, back from the IR, pitched a brilliant game yesterday. Jays won. He has 6 innings, 11 K, and that young catcher, he did it again. He comes up, bottom of the 9th, I think, against a really good closer, and bang, done. Won the game. Terrific stuff. Really enjoying watching this Toronto team right now. By the way, we have the game tonight. Correct? We've got it tonight?
Yep.
Blue Jays, Phillies, after Jason Gregor's show.
That we do.
And that'll be a good one. And they're starting to come now. And the Tampa Bay Rays are in action right now. And they're fading a little bit. And Judge being out for the Yankees, that helps the Blue Jays as well. The score of the game, though, is 3-0 for Tampa Bay right now over Boston. So would like a little better result on the out-of-town scoreboard. We'll keep you updated on that as well as the day goes by. All right, Kevin McCurdy will join us at 1:00 today. We have declinations at 1:40 on the way. Rumors, lots to talk about, and we'll reset the latest on the Mike Babcock situation. It is a story with legs. It is a story that it's evolving. We'll give you the update, the absolute latest here in 2 Shakes and a Lamb's Tail on rumors. This is the Lowdown with Lowetide, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick.
Are new McCafe crafted sodas just drinks or something more? Like Sprite Berry Bliss, Creamy Strawberry Coke, and Orange Dream. All swirled with fizzy flavor and topped with silky cold foam. Only at McDonald's. At participating McDonald's restaurants in Canada.
Are you a skilled laborer? All-Star Construction wants to talk to you. A heavy equipment operator with track hoe or backhoe experience, All-Star Construction wants to talk to you, too. With work in and around Edmonton for local land developers, All-Star Construction offers year-round employment. Whether it's power, gas, or telecom, developers rely on All-Star Construction to get the job done. So if you're a skilled laborer or a heavy equipment operator with track hoe or backhoe experience searching for work, search All-Star Construction on Indeed.
It doesn't start on game day. It starts before kickoff, before the first snap. It starts with you locking in your season seats. This is Edmonton Elks football. The only way to experience it is being there for every hit, catch, and touchdown. The Elks home opener kicks off June 20th against Montreal. Your season seats are your way in. Get yours now at goelks.com/season seats. Edmonton Elks, our city, our year.
Attention Alberta construction pros. For over 50 years, Jaffa Equipment Rentals has been your go-to for top-notch equipment and stellar service. Whether you need rentals or expert maintenance, we've got you covered. Stop by our Edmonton or Calgary locations today.
Jason Gregor isn't just a sports guy. He's a community builder with over $3 million raised for local charities.
And his Gregor Foundation,
he's making a difference on and off the air. Check out Gregor weekday afternoons on Sports 1440.
Sharing. It's simple. It's what we were raised to do. But somewhere along the line, the world got bigger, colder, and the idea of sharing got lost. But not at Service. Because when you bank with us to reach your goals, we share our profits in cash, just for banking with us. From mortgages, investments, daily banking, and more, our profits circle back to you. Bank more, get more money back. Full circle banking, only at Service Credit Union.
The funny thing about hitting the road to leave it all behind is you don't really want to leave it all behind. So Sherwood Honda has the SUV with plenty of room for all you want with you. Think Honda CR-V, the Honda Pilot, or maybe even a Ridgeline truck. With this kind of lineup, you can go where you want and bring all you want with you. You sure would make it easy to leave your cares behind by starting at Sherwood Honda.
It's
Canadian Tire Summer Big Red Sale. Up to 50% off! Dude, I'm soaked. I mean, they told us to make a big splash, so I did.
Save up to 50% at Canadian Tire's Summer Big Red Sale, June 4th to 11th. Exclusions apply. Details online.
Cougar Creek Golf Resort is now open and in great condition. Experience our championship-length golf course, surrounded by trees and rolling terrain, and only minutes from Edmonton. Book a tee time today. Go to cougarcreekgolf.com and click on golf.
Here's the Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
This is the Lowdown on Sports 1440, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Check them out, wolfgmcbuick.com. Just so you know, over there in the corner, Declan Krueger is going, well, he didn't like that song. Cut it right off. I work hard on these songs.
I thought it had enough of a pop beat that it might be a hit.
It was okay. It was okay. It sounded a little weak on the music part, I felt, you know. Do you know that back in American Bandstand, Dick Clark would bring people out, two people usually, and he'd play them a song and they would rate it, and then he'd play another song and they'd rate it, and then they would you know, pick one song and then play the whole thing and the kids would dance to it. I know. An old man is talking. I get it. I understand. It is time for Rumors, brought to you by Harley-Davidson of Edmonton. It's riding season, and Harley-Davidson of Edmonton has your next bike waiting for you. Huge selection of new and pre-owned, plus test rides available. Locally owned and operated since 1980 on the Yellowhead Trail or at hdedmonton.com. Harley-Davidson, man, they just sound different, ride different. They're fab. Check it out. Okay. We mentioned this before, but we're going to lead with it again. We're not going to spend the whole day talking about it, but this is important stuff, and we want to, you know, reflect exactly what's going on right now in the world of sports. So you should know the NHL is conducting an investigation into Mike Babcock's short coaching stint with the Columbus Blue Jackets after the NHL Players Association informed the Edmonton Oilers the union wants one before signing off on the team hiring Babcock as coach. Frank Saravalli, a couple of hours ago, had two tweets. The first one said, if the Oilers elect to continue down the path, we know that that is the case with Mike Babcock and his hiring. Sources say the PA is in receipt of significant, and their air quotes I'm using, additional claims from their own investigation with players that were not publicly reported in 2023. Furthermore, sources indicate that asking players to see photos is not what ultimately resulted in Babcock's resignation. It was the subsequent unknown allegation reported below that cost Babcock his job. So I mean, I am certainly not a lawyer. I've never played one on radio or television, but it feels to me as though this is an indicator, like, you know, that's going to be public and it would be embarrassing. We do not know if it rises to any level that would be considered to be, you know, causing the end of Babcock's audition to become the coach of the Edmonton Oilers. But we do know that it's a factor, at least enough for the PA to be, you know, releasing the information. So we'll see. This is continuing to be not only a provocative story, but also a story that has many legs, and you've got to follow it all. So when we have things like that, it can sometimes seem dire, depending upon what side you're cheering for, or it can be maybe close, and then it's pulled out from under you because there's new revelations. What we do know is this, that it's underway. We also know that it feels like, based on living in this city and you know, putting your ear to the railway tracks, that the Edmonton Oilers are going to get their man. Their man is Mike Babcock, and they are going to proceed with Mike Babcock as the head coach. I wrote today in The Athletic about the players that I thought would benefit from Mike Babcock being the coach, and those who might be under a lot of pressure. And I didn't pinpoint people who might be bullied, for instance. I'm just saying that Mike Babcock has a particular style of play, and he likes to have certain things happen. And there are a few players who are going to be under the gun just because this team plays a certain amount of freewheeling hockey, and Babcock is going to rein that in. That's what he does as a coach. That discipline that everybody's been talking about, that the players who have met Mike Babcock are interested in getting for their team, that will cause, I would say, more responsible defensive play, less risky defensive play, better coverage. All of those things will be, and also, I think that he'll play the players that he believes in, and he'll fade those who don't, and that might surprise people when it's actually put in play. But we're getting ahead of ourselves, but it's out there, and I think that it is wise for us to say, although it has not happened, what has happened since yesterday is there seems to be a settling in of the belief that Mike Babcock will be the next coach of the Edmonton Oilers. Carolina Hurricanes won Game 4. I wonder, the question I have, gentlemen, in this series is who plays goal for Carolina in game number 5?
See, again, you just won. I mean, I know Rod the Bod came out and said, I talked to our goalie coach, like, we think Freddie just needed a break.
That's just coverage, right? Like,
that's just coverage because guess what? You played 13 games in 3 series. Like, there's a lot of time for breaks in there. He just hasn't been good.
Well,
and that's okay.
And it is. And you're just, Rod the Bod, as you say, is just protecting his veteran. That's okay.
That he is. Yeah. And like, again, this is a guy that wasn't your starter all regular season. Bussy was. And then we were all caught off guard when Anderson was going to be the starter in the playoffs. And then he played really well. And now he's just not playing as well. So bring your starter back in, because the guy for Vegas hasn't exactly been playing well. First goalie in Stanley Cup history to let in 4+ goals every game in the first 4 games.
Well, right now, the story of this series is that they got good goaltending until they got there, or mostly good goaltending. And now they're not.
Both teams did.
Yeah. Declan, any thoughts on who the goalie should be to start for Carolina?
Yeah. Like, what's funny is someone texted in and they said, do you think Mitch Marner is going to win the Conn Smythe even if they lose? And when you look at, the numbers for him, obviously 29 points so far, 11 ahead of Taylor Hall, who I believe leads for Carolina. It's like, yeah, even if they do lose, it's looking like it's him. But the funny thing is, like, Freddie Anderson would be the choice for Carolina if they win based on the numbers. But he hasn't played in 2 of the, or he's like, Brandon, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that obviously you don't actually think about that. You don't think like, is this our best Conn Smythe chance? Obviously you do what's best to win the game. I think you probably have to roll with the guy who just won you the game. And when you look at what Freddie had done in those Stanley Cup, like, he just hadn't been great. So I think you got to roll with Brandon Bussy. I know it wasn't maybe the most electrifying shutout performance you'd want from a goaltender, but you won the game. He played well. I think you roll with him again for game 5.
Yeah. Stankoven's got 11 goals in 17 games. Jordan Staal's looked good. I think if Carolina wins the Stanley Cup, the Smythe winner will come from the Hurricanes. That's my belief. We'll have to wait and see. By the way, Brandon Bussy, for those who don't know, he toiled in the minor leagues for some time for the Providence Bruins. And the Providence Bruins have a pretty darn good goaltender that's been there for 2 or 3 years now, Michael DiPietro. And that's a player. I know everybody's talking about Sebastian Cossa. We'll talk to Kevin McCurdy about Cossa coming up at 1:00 today. There were heavy rumors earlier in the week that Cossa was going to arrive in Edmonton, and that may well be true. But DiPietro, who is a little bit older, I think he's a goaltender like Bussy, who maybe has been knocking out the door and hasn't had an opportunity, and that would be a really good time for a team like the Edmonton Oilers, who are looking for a goaltender, to at least check it out and maybe see how they can, they're maybe going to go about finding their other goaltender. Looks like Tristan Jarry will be number 1. I'm hearing rumors, and I can't remember where I read them, but I'll just throw it out there. Ottawa Senators might be interested in Connor Ingram, who, as you remember, played pretty well for the Edmonton Oilers down the stretch. I think Ottawa might be a really good landing spot for him. There's lots of rumors now, like every day. I will always remind people that for some unknown, I don't know why people are the way they are. I can't figure out Declan or Josh. They're just different. They just are. They're young people. I don't know. Maybe I was like that when I was young. It's possible. But there are people online, especially on Twitter, who will go to great pains to make up a fake, Frank Saravalli, or I don't know if Gregor's ever had it done, but Elliot, Friedman, and they'll make and then they'll They'll break a big trade, and you'll look at it and you go, oh my God, Elliot Friedman says this is happening. So just be careful. The insiders all have like 1 million or close followers. So they're bona fide. So if you see just an absolute, eyebrow raising trade or breaking news, just take that extra second to check it out before you retweet it. Or it's happened to me. I've done it. So I'm telling you, it does happen, but it is wildly irritating when it happens. So be careful out there.
Yeah. You got to read the username. You sort of got to know the username, because I think the most famous one of this that sort of kicked the whole thing off was NBA Centel and not NBA Central. And that gets a lot of people quite a bit. And so like in the NBA circles, it's called getting Centelled. But the reason those accounts get
your
more
generation doesn't know how to spell.
Those accounts get, well, it can't be NBA Central because there's already an NBA Central.
You know what the real thing that kicked it off was? It was when Elon bought Twitter, and the verified accounts weren't the only ones anymore that had the blue check mark.
Exactly.
So when anyone could get the blue check mark, then you say like a light spelling difference like Central,
easy.
It pops off.
So easy to blame poor Elon Musk.
And
the guy can't get 2 coins to rub together.
I know, really tough. First trillionaire, or soon, I think. Anyways, the problem with that though is that those accounts are funny, so people follow them. So even like the follower accounts, like, can't really trust that. You just sort of gotta do some careful reading.
There are some funny accounts out there that are just like
Centel's hilarious.
No, makes you laugh. So you don't give up on it, but you got to be careful.
So was Frank Saravalli, which is Frank's parodied account.
What's the funniest? The funniest ones aren't the ones that are like fake trade. Sebastian Aho has been traded in the middle of the Stanley Cup Finals to the Columbus Blue Jackets. The funniest ones are the ones that are like, Brady Tkachuk didn't brush his teeth this morning because he couldn't find his toothbrush. Like those are the ones that always get me giggling. Those like out of left pocket that are fake, but they make look real ones.
They're kind of like the Beaverton or the Onion, but on Twitter, right? Yeah. Oh, those are good. Any NFL news at all? Like, I know it's like end of free agency, stragglers, money talk, making sure that people haven't done anything crazy, in the backyard with the barbecue so they can show up on time. Nobody's been working with fireworks, for instance. So everybody's going to be ready. Is that?
That's basically what it is. However, Hall of Fame quarterback, to-be Hall of Fame quarterback, partial owner of the Las Vegas Raiders, Tom Brady, has released a new energy drink called Good Nut. So it's coconut. Guys, don't read into it or anything.
Okay, but you know what people are going to do with Good Nut.
Well, Tom Brady should have thought about that. I just had to bring it up.
No.
The other, I guess, like piece of, not that that's not real news. I'm not saying that.
No,
but,
it's heavy hitting news. What it is.
Joel Bitonio retired. Cleveland Browns, played left guard. One of the like really, really good staple left guards for a long, long time in the NFL. He has hung up the cleats.
I'm always amazed at how I remember Roger Aldag, who like
Riders legend.
In Saskatchewan, like if he ever paid for anything, I would be shocked. Not that he's cheap, but just because he's adored. But he played like a long time, right? And because once you get established on the line, then they never want to get rid of you because you're familiar with everybody. And he had a hell of a career. But some of those guys they hang around for a long, long time, like Methuselah. So I want to ask you this because it's topical. And we have 2 hours, so we have a little bit of time. So World Cup. If you could pick one game that you could attend during the World Cup, doesn't matter where it is. We know the dates and we know who's playing. But if you could see one game during the World Cup, what would it be?
You don't have an answer yet?
No,
Zach?
I got one. I was just letting know.
Yeah. So I would go to Argentina, Austria on June 22nd in Texas. Probably be the only time in my life that I would have a chance to see Messi live in person. So most influential athlete of my life.
Best athlete of your life, too.
Best athlete of my life. Yes.
Just the stuff he did. I think that people who don't know soccer or don't know him are missing out. Just watch a highlight video.
I don't think there's a person out there that does not know who Lionel Messi is.
I hope so.
We've talked about it. It's insane. I think first, a great answer, seeing the GOAT in person with your own two eyes. I thought about going that direction. I think the one I might see is I think Group L is going to be the group of death this year. And England and Ghana are in that group. Now, granted, there isn't a true group of death this year, but I've always supported the African nations. Like Cote d'Ivoire has always been a team I've cheered for.
They're fun to watch too.
Yeah. They play a very high attacking style. What's funny actually is like in this one I'm talking about, this Ghana England match. If you look at Ghana, like the transfer market values of the players, like the top transfer market values of the players on Ghana, it's all like wingers and center forwards essentially. Like it's all attacking players. But I think that, and then obviously just England, like they're kind of the Canada of hockey. They're kind of the Canada hockey of soccer.
Canada wins a lot more than England.
I was
does.
just about to say without the success.
Wow.
Yes, without the success, but they're that proud nation. The team was constructed. I've talked about it a little bit funnily. So that might be the game I would see. Either the England-Ghana game or Germany-Cote d'Ivoire.
Yeah, you said Germany, and I just really like the German style. The Germans are so logical, and it's fun to watch them apply that to the game. But I think I would go with Netherlands, Sweden on Sweden is an interesting team too. So I would go with them, and I would like to see Netherlands as well. I would love to see Canada. But when am I going to see Netherlands play Sweden in a World Cup? So I would probably do that.
And then bluntly, Canada's group is just kind of blech. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's Qatar, Switzerland, and Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Right.
It's like it's not exactly like Spain or France. You know?
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of names, a lot of letters in all the names.
A lot of letters.
But it's not. Anyway, it's exciting. I know tickets are expensive, but apparently they're giving some away because they're not selling out some of these because, I don't know where Holland's playing, but they're probably not a big sell in the town, But a World Cup game, man, that's pretty wild. Are you excited for this? Or does the fact that it's in North America make it better or worse for you?
It makes no difference to me.
Okay.
Oh, I am so excited. I am so excited. I love the World Cup. It's once every 40 years. Once every 40. It's once every
like Hallie's comment.
Yeah. It's once every 4 years. It is the world's event. It is the beautiful game. I love the world. I'm so giddy for it to get going, to start tomorrow. Month-long celebration of football. Very excited. And the fact it's in North America, I think it's actually cooler. It's right in our backyard. It's right out the back door. I'm mixing up phrases left, right, and center in the first 40 minutes today. But yeah, very excited, very fun.
We should tell people how we can and cannot report on this. The games and what we can say and all of those things too, right? Like as there is with every big event, like the Olympics or whatever, there are certain things we can't, pull the play-by-play or anything like that. But we will give you updates on it. And we will cover it because it is like a massive event. And Edmonton, not strangely, but Edmonton really is a major soccer city, and especially when it comes to the nations that play soccer. My friend Paul Almeida has told me more about the Portuguese side than I ever wanted to know. I tried to stop him many times, will not stop. And so Matt Iwanek is with the Italian group and the Ukrainian. He's a double-edged sword. So for me, this is going to be a lot of fun. I love watching the African nations. They're so colorful, and they play, I think, a more wide open style. Probably, a team like Germany could just, wear them out playing structurally, but it's more fun to watch a lot of the African nations. So I just look forward to it for the fun of it. I'm not as familiar with the names as I'm sure most of the audience that watches it, but I'm thrilled to enjoy it. It's a very colorful sport, and it's so fast moving. And I think that we can never choose who's going to be the Iceland, like the unlikely hero team or the Canada. But that team, whatever it is, it usually announces its presence early, and then we all cheer like hell for them, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, like there's some really cool countries you can get behind in this year's tournament, like Cabo Verde, small nation, Curacao, small nation, not even technically a country. Jordan, Uzbekistan making their debuts, Haiti as well, got a lot of political turmoil over there. So there are a lot of those small countries that are easy to root for.
Yeah. All right, we're going to try to forget that Declan compared English soccer success to Canada's hockey success internationally.
Well, you cut me off before I said without the success, just to be fair to me.
And we'll be right back. Lowdown with Lowetide, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick.
When your project can't afford downtime, call Japa Equipment Rentals. From excavators and wheel loaders to compaction equipment, Japa has the machines you need. Trusted since 1972. Visit japaequipment.com or stop by our Edmonton or Calgary locations.
There's one game that kicks off summer, June 20th at Play Alberta Field at Commonwealth Stadium. The Elks home opener, Elks Alouettes, presented by James H. Brown, Alberta Injury Lawyers. Lock in your tickets now at goelks.com/tickets. Our city, our year.
Looking for a truck that can handle anything Alberta throws your way? Wolf GMC Buick has the offers to get you behind the wheel. Get 0% financing for up to 72 months on select new 2026 GMC Sierra 1500 models. Plus, trade in an eligible 2015 or newer pickup and receive a $1,000 truck trade-in bonus on select Sierra models. Ask about bonus offers for heroes, students, recent graduates, and more. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com.
Tee up at the 2026 Golfathon presented by Popeye Supplements June 19th at Rundle Park, supporting the University Hospital Foundation. Golf all day long for $250, including a cart and food. GoTrackSocialClub.com.
Just in time for the big game. Score big savings at the Brick. Save up to $1,300 off sofas, up to 25% off bedroom and dining packages, plus save up to 40% on select mattresses. And buy more, save more. Up to $1,000 off select major appliances. Watch Team Canada score big on a big screen TV, up to 50% off open box electronics. See in store for details and exclusions. The Brick, saving you more.
From the locker room to your radio, Sports 1440 is Edmonton's sports leader. Real talk, big personalities, and your texts. It's interactive. It's fun. It's where Edmonton talks sports. Sports 1440.
Any project, big or small, when you need metal cut to your exact measurements fast, count on Metal Supermarkets, a warehouse bursting at the seams with inventory, plus metal bending, drilling, punching, notching, plasma cutting, welding, even delivery. Endless possibilities. Now imagine what they can do for you.
How about a garage shelf?
Think bigger, my friend.
2 garage shelves?
There you go.
I live on the edge.
The local convenience stores for Southside, West End, metalsupermarkets.com.
At Wendy's, get a 10-piece nugget small combo for just $8.99. That's right, $8.99 for 100% Canadian chicken, plus fries and a drink. That's just good nuggenomics. Only until June 14th. In restaurant at participating Wendy's locations. Taxes extra.
You need the lowdown? It's with Lowetide right now on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. wolfgmcbuick.com.
It's 1440, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Check them out, wolfgmcbuick.com. We have the Jays game after the Jason Krueger show as they play, once again, the Phillies. Great game last night. Jays won late. Cease pitched very well. Norman says, I'm supporting any team whose coach has a full-time job as a dentist. Go Ireland. There you go.
That was when Iceland made their tournament in 2018. That was the manager there. He was the dentist. He's Ireland's coach now. But
so he moved up.
Well, he actually went from Iceland to Jamaica for a time, and now he's with Ireland.
Yeah, I think if you're coaching Iceland, Jamaica's a good spot. Have you been to Jamaica?
No.
Oh, it's so beautiful there. It is truly a paradise. It really is. I would go back there again and again. Okay. Love it, Ireland, says Norman. Do you guys know Ria from Ghana? I fear Canada sleeps on Bosnia. Those lower European teams are significantly better than the teams we face in CONCACAF. I would not be surprised at all if Switzerland and Bosnia finish 1 and 2. You know, it's funny. I look, I'm not a soccer expert, but I love the Euro for that reason. It feels to me like the Euro is it's a brilliant tournament, but it's also high caliber, very high caliber. And you're right. I think it is the conglomeration or the best, group, the Euro. But I like, South American countries are brilliant too. So, I mean, I just always want to make sure I get South America in there. We have a lot of fans of Argentina or Chile, So you got to be careful. Can't be offending anybody leading up to the World Cup. Kevin Weeks says Skinner is going to Ottawa, says Ed. Well, there's a lot of rumors out there. Weeks is good, though. If you don't follow Weeks, make sure you do. Specifically about goaltending, but he gets a lot of really good info. Breaks a lot of stuff. And he's also quite funny. I've been to Jamaica. I agree with LT. The people there are so colorful, and they're beautiful people. There are things in common with the Mexican folks and the Jamaican folks have with like somebody from Saskatchewan. They're really down to earth. They're really good people, and they're sweet and they're generous. I'm big fan, big fan. Some of the beer is not great. I will say that, but I'm just nitpicking, honestly. Who do we think is going to win the World Cup?
Oh, it's definitely Spain's to lose. Okay. Spain and France, the two favorites. And then I'd say a bit of a drop off to number 3.
Okay. Of the North American teams, who has the best chance of getting deep?
Probably the States.
Yeah. I think it's kind of set
what, not Mexico?
Yeah, see, I'm glad you brought that up, Josh, because after I said that, I realized I really don't know much about the Mexican national team. So, but one of those two, I would say for sure.
Greg from Spruce Grove. If you're not Dutch, you're not much. Go Holland. Hoagie from Spruce Grove. Hey guys, how about Ronaldo? No one wants to see him. He is also GOAT. Lokesh. Yeah. I just think most of us feel like the other guy's the better player, better career. No disrespect to Ronaldo. Wonderful player. I've seen him play internationally in big tournaments like the World Cup, and his team was not great. And he was just hitting posts everywhere. He was the team. Just a great heart. Absolutely fantastic heart. And one of those players, in a game like soccer, it's hard to have the ball follow you around because the pitch is rather large, but he is one. So Portugal all the way from Loderman. See, this is why I did not say anything to offend the Portuguese, because if you start talking smack talk about Portugal and soccer, they're going to come at you with information. For instance, if you look at the success they've had based on their population base, they're kind of like Finland in hockey, where they punch way above their weight. Not a huge country, but Almeida keeps telling me that they loan out players to other countries who aren't good enough. I don't know if I buy that, but they're obviously very, very good. What have you got coming up on Declinations today, by the way?
Declinations today. It's Wednesday, so we're going to be doing Dunking with Declan, jamming with Josh, laying it up with LT. You get the fast break layup. Me and Josh get the the funny ones.
Me doing a layup. Do we have the ambulance right by the court, or where exactly is that?
Hey, I'm still trying to get that Sports 1440 basketball tournament going. Also, just really quickly, because we only talk about this stuff once every 4 years. Portugal, some of the absolute best players on the planet. Nuno Mendes, probably the best left back, and Vitinha, one of the best center midfielders.
No, they're fabulous. There's no doubt about it. It's just that if you say anything offensive about Portugal and soccer, just be prepared. You're going to have to pack a lunch because people are coming after you. There's a lot of Portugal fans in the city of Edmonton. Did you hear Commodore with Gregor yesterday?
Yeah, I heard the first little bit of it before I got back to my apartment.
That was pretty powerful stuff.
Yeah.
It was a great interview. If you get a chance, if you didn't hear it, go back and listen to it because Gregor did a great job. And Commodore, he came off the top rope. He really did. He was I don't want to say spitting chiclets, but he was absolutely fire.
He was dialed.
Yeah.
He had his fastball.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he was. He didn't need his curve or his slider. He just kept throwing fastball. Yeah. Nobody could catch up to it.
No, sir.
Yeah. All right. We have McCurdy coming up an hour or two. We have Declinations coming up an hour or two. Have we talked about the NBA enough this hour?
We're going to talk about it enough in an hour here.
Okay.
I think we'll live.
We want to talk a little bit about CFL Week 2. I know that the Edmonton Elks aren't in it, but they're up 1-0 in the standings, which is kind of cool. And I think this is, correct me if I'm wrong, young Declan Krueger, Mr. Green Man, the Rough Riders finally get a chance to play.
They do against BC.
Right.
Yeah.
That'll be
Hang
on
the banner.
Saturday game.
It's crazy the Grey Cup champ wasn't opening the season, to be honest, but not even playing week 1. Like that seems
I just hate when you get an early bye like that. It means nothing.
Yeah.
I want them in the middle of the season.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Like it's the horrible. Now, granted, with 9 teams, 1 team has to get it, but horrible system.
Yeah. I mean, can't the extra team each week play the guys from the Y? You know, it wouldn't count in the standings, but at least you get a TV game out of it, you know? They still have YMCAs in cities, right?
Yeah, there's a YMCA in Calgary. I know that for a fact.
Well, there's the Platts here.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how many people stay over, but I imagine it's enough for a football team.
But hey, you know, it's fun to stay at the YMCA, you know. Seriously? Nothing?
I'm not going there because the Village people did it better.
I'm aware.
Name one other Village. You're not a Village People fan, man. Name one other Village People song.
Why should I have to name another Village People song?
Everybody goes for that one. Nobody talks about In the Navy, which is a classic.
That's nice. Didn't we talk about one-hit wonders?
I just named another hit.
Nope.
What the hell? You can't rewrite history.
Ask other people name a Village People song. Most people my age couldn't do it. All we know, YMCA.
I didn't care about soccer until my daughter started playing U9 club. Now I love it from Ben. It's a great sport. I played it when I was a kid. And I ran till my sides hurt. And it was like, as a kid, probably my favorite sport to play. Yeah, because I couldn't skate very well. And I loved baseball, but I couldn't be on the team because I lived 17 miles north of town. But yeah, soccer is a great game. It is to play and to watch and observe and to be a fan of. And then you can just appreciate the ridiculous skill of somebody like Messi, who is just, I mean, not even, whatever beyond great is, whatever is after icon, then there's Messi. You know, he's best athlete of his era.
Yeah.
My thing with Messi is that when all the goats, I've said this on this show, and I know
he's
we
the
gotta
goat
get to an
of
update.
goats.
Yeah, when all the goats are sitting at the table, he sits at the head of the table.
And he's just a little guy, and he does these little subtle moves, and you're like, oh my God. And then you're like, what? Play the tape again. You know, pretty crazy stuff. All right, Kevin McCurdy on the way. We also have Declinations at 1:40 today. This is the Lowdown with Lowetide, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. It's time for an update with Declan Krueger.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Brought to you by Elks Nation. For the best Elks coverage year-round with podcasts and articles, go to elksnation.ca. Player interviews, game analysis, and more. The best green and gold coverage online, elksnation.ca. The NHL is moving ahead, quote, with Mike Babcock's investigation following a request from the NHLPA. NBA Finals will resume tonight. San Antonio and New York in Game 4 of their series. New York, of course, leading 2-1, 6:30 p.m. tip for that game. Stanley Cup Finals will resume tomorrow with a 6 p.m. puck drop in Carolina, with that series tied 2-2. Riverhawks are in action with an 11:05 first pitch today against the Victoria Harbor Cats. And in the MLB, right now the Rays lead the Red Sox 5-0, and the Yankees lead the Guardians 6-3. Coming up in about 45 minutes time, we'll see the Nats and the Giants, Reds and Padres at 2:10, and then later today we'll see the Blue Jays playing host to the Philadelphia Phillies. 5:07 first pitch. You will be able to listen listen here on Sports 1440 AM dial only, and it will be Scherzer on the bump for the Jays. I'm Declan Krueger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray radio station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your biggest vision to life. Learn more at edmontonexpocentre.com today.
You see it? Fusion Promo Marketing can make it. Fusion makes high-quality, memorable promotional products for businesses, sports teams, and corporate events. From vision to reality, get noticed and remembered. Fusion with a Z. Promomarketing.ca.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique, family-owned, independent liquor store. The selection? Incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Say hello to your new favorite drinks. Introducing new McCafe Refreshers. Icy cool, undeniably refreshing, and available in 3 flavors. Strawberry watermelon, mango pineapple, and blackberry passion fruit. Only at McDonald's.
Good to go. With Mortgages to Go, you'll be good to go. Mortgagestogo.ca says yes when the banks say no. That's why Alberta has trusted Mortgages to Go for over 23 years. If you need cash and have equity in your home, you're approved instantly, guaranteed. Call 1-888-888-5998. That's 1-888-888-5998. With Mortgages to Go, you'll say, good to go.
Looking for a truck that can handle anything Alberta throws your way? Wolf GMC Buick has the offers to get you behind the wheel. Get 0% financing for up to 72 months on select new 2026 GMC Sierra 1500 models. Plus, trade in an eligible 2015 or newer pickup and receive a $1,000 truck trade-in bonus on select Sierra models. Ask about bonus offers for heroes, students, recent graduates, and more. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com.
The Lawnmower Hospital. Spring is here, and your lawn knows it. Get the professional grade cut your home deserves with Toro. The Lawnmower Hospital has the right Toro for the job, from the residential Toro Super Recycler to the high-performance zero-turn tractor for those larger properties. Shop now for exclusive spring discounts or 0% financing for 36 months on select units. Beat the rush and get your Toro in for service today. Visit lawnmowerhosp.com.
The Lawnmower Hospital.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Can you fit Sports Encyclopedia on a business card?
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
It's the Lowdown on Sports 1440. Memories, they're just flooding back now. We're loving it. Loving every minute of it. The Lowdown is brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. Get 0% financing for up to 72 months on select new 2026 Sierra 1500 models. Visit wolfgmcbuick.com. Do you want to take back your one-hit wonder take there, Josh?
Never.
Okay, so you're just going to go with the incorrect thing.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I know. I know. You don't respect history.
Just not that history.
Okay. All right. Let's all settle down. It is time for the headliner of the day, Kevin McCurdy, brought to you by Faber. Debt holding you back? Let Faber's licensed insolvency trustees help you tackle your debt. Book your free consultation at faber.ca or call 1-877-944-1177. That's 1-877-944-1177. Joined now by Kevin McCurdy. How are you?
I'm doing well, Alan. How are you doing this week?
I'm well. It's been a crazy week, though, man. It really has.
My.
It like the we're not even where it'll get completely out there around July 1, but the Mike Babcock thing, which is proceeding, but there's so many different layers of it, and it seems to change by the hour. And then we had this major Sebastian, and I know you were kind of around that. Cosa coming here, not coming here, not really sure where it's at. So I mean, we're not killing trees to print this stuff on paper, but the internet has been wild with Oilers stuff.
Yeah, let's start with Casa if you want, because I kind of have a little bit of a mea culpa there, I guess. And so I did receive private information about that. I had heard from multiple people that there was a deal in the works, and a couple of people have backpedaled on that. So, onus is on me. I own it for publishing it. I was reasonably sure that something, and I'm still am reasonably sure that they are working on something. I do know there are other teams in the mix. Obviously I think Utah is one of them, and there's a couple others that I'm aware of as well. But I thought that things were a lot closer to the finish line than it turns out they actually are. So that's on me, and we'll learn from that experience, I guess. Going forward, it can't be right all the time, I guess.
Well, yeah, and I mean, there's if you hang around media a long time, and listen to the various folks who have gotten information, sometimes it doesn't work out. Michael Nylander being a very famous example of it, but there are others, and it kind of shocks everybody because I think sometimes people would be surprised how close it is to getting done before it unravels. But we heard recently about a trade between Montreal and Toronto that didn't get done at the deadline because it wasn't filed until 3:01 Eastern time as opposed to 3 o'clock. So these things happen, and they do alter, what teams are doing. And the idea that Cosa is going to be traded isn't unusual. And it also gives us an idea about where the Oilers are thinking. Maybe they might be looking for a young goaltender to back up Jari and also emerge as maybe the goalie of the future in real time.
Yeah, I think that's fair, and I still think that the Oilers have strong interest in this player, and that's been signaled for months and months and months now. And whether something materializes or doesn't materializes, or maybe there's something that has a draft component to it that hasn't. Obviously, we're still about 2 weeks away from the draft, so maybe something like that. I've heard iterations of all of those things, so it's entirely possible that I might be a bit premature on this one, but if I'm wrong, I'll own it. I'm not I didn't publish that without having checked with a few people, and clearly I need to vet even more in the future. So everybody's got lessons out of this.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about the Mike Babcock story. I know you're aware that as of this morning, the investigation is starting. Frank Saravalli has been tweeting about it, as Per LeBrun, Darren Dreger as well. It sounds like the investigation is underway, and the NHLPA has information that has not been made public yet that they are, they want that to be heard as well. Generally, the people that I've talked to in media believe this thing will get over the line and Mike Babcock will be the coach. Do you share that feeling, or do you think this thing might get hung up?
Hard to tell with the news this morning that there were additional significant undisclosed discrepancies in Babcock's behavior. I don't know how that plays out. The league, the PA is obviously asking the league to investigate. I'm a little surprised that they didn't investigate it previously. I understand maybe because of his resignation that it spared them from that, but one would have had expected the Oilers to know that something like this existed, or Babcock to have disclosed that something like this existed, if that was the case. So I think it's there's enough sand in the gears that this could get derailed. I do think the Oilers think that he's their guy and that that's what they're going to try and do. But it's honestly kind of not a great look. It's not clean by any stretch of the imagination.
One thing I'll just mention is, sometimes when people say, they didn't investigate, they may well have investigated things and not made them public. And I think that's what Saravalli's point was, that I think there's a sense here that they didn't find very much, or they didn't talk to everybody. I suspect that they did pretty thorough stuff, but once Babcock resigned, there was no reason to pursue it in terms of public domain. And we'll find out as this process continues whether or not we're right. I suspect it'll all come out, and we'll find out. My question for you, and this was always my question, is once they, let's say that Babcock says, I don't want to do this, it's too much hassle. They're deep in it now. Laviolette is gone. My understanding is that the Toronto Maple Leafs have not talked to Jay Woodcroft, which would be a candidate for Edmonton, although I don't know if he'd come here or whether they would hire him again. There's Berube. There are other candidates that have been mentioned. But if they check down from Babcock, who appears to be their number one choice, is there anywhere they can go, or do you see them, hiring a Mac T for a year and waiting for Cassidy's availability?
I gotta say, the handling of this whole thing has been kind of a clown show. And that's, I don't make that statement lightly. Like, this is a team that doesn't really need any more PR problems at the moment. They have, a contentious window where they have to be competitive. And frankly, it's a distraction. So who's next? I mean, I would say Woodcroft, but the team won't agree with that, or Woodcroft won't agree with that. One of those two things will be true. I like Jay Woodcroft a lot as a coach, but apparently what they want is a bit of a hard ass, and I'm not sure Jay Woodcroft is really that guy, although I'm not, I don't know Jay that well by any stretch of the imagination, at least not on a personal basis. I don't know what you do then. I don't know if McTavish would even entertain the idea. I know I have a pretty good idea that he was asked previously and he wasn't interested. I don't know if he would do that for a year for, an eye-watering sum of money just to make the clock go round. But this is an important year for the Oilers, regardless of Bob's statement yesterday that, McDavid was going to look at a 7-year extension.
That was his belief, right?
That's what I mean. He postulated that was a likely outcome, and that's first of all, that's a pretty unusual statement from him. Normally, I wouldn't expect him to speculate, so I expect he had some backing information to that, but it's an important statement. It doesn't change the fact that the Oilers are in win now mode, and they need to get their house in order rapidly, and that is proving to be challenging.
Yeah, it's one thing that I think may happen here, and I don't know how you hold organizations to account. Vegas apparently is just within the rules, but if the Oilers end up hiring Babcock and then Cassidy is free to sign with Toronto, I'm perplexed, number one, by the NHL just allowing this to happen, because the spirit of a contract with a coach is if you fire him, then he's free to find another job. The Oilers have been bitten twice, and now it looks like 3 times on this. Peter Chiarelli had been fired by the Boston Bruins and then signed by Edmonton, and they had to give up a draft pick for him. And they had the same situation with Todd McClellan, who was hired the same year, and they gave up a 3rd round pick in a very deep draft for McClellan in 2015, and I believe it was a 2nd in 2016 for Chiarelli. They're not going to give up a draft pick here, but they're not going to get the coach that they were perceived to have had number 1 on their list in Cassidy. And my sense of fair play here is that it just feels like, and I don't mean to, sound like I'm bitching or anything, but it feels like when the NHL can screw over the Oilers, they take full torque on it.
Yeah, once is something you can write off, twice is something you got to pay attention to. Once it starts becoming a repeating pattern, you really got to start asking questions about it. And I'm not, I don't think the league is intentionally screwing anybody, but it's not a good look, man. The other thing is, like, does the league really want this distraction right now? Like, in the middle of the Stanley Cup Finals, do they want this being the headline news item over, obviously the Stanley Cup Finals between their, poster child Southern teams? I'm not sure that they do. So, does this apply some pressure to them? Whether intentional or not, I'm not saying that's what the Oilers' goal was here, to, make a private call to Vegas and say, hey, can you guys just get out of the way here so that the Oilers can have a coach lined up so that we can focus the media attention on the Stanley Cup and the award of the Stanley Cup, because this is a distraction from what we really want the news to be on right now. I mean, it's great drama. It's a soap opera, but it's not really, as a fan, what I want to be seeing from the team.
Yeah, and it's I forgot about the Lucic thing too, where they had to trade a pick to Calgary that was a second instead of a third or whatever it was. It was highly irritating. But I think that the one thing we can agree on as fans is that this Stanley Cup final is brilliant. And I know we called the Pacific Division the pillow fight. Actually, Connor McDavid did the pillow fight division, but I'll give Vegas credit. They fired their coach and they brought in a new guy, and there was a breath of fresh air. And we know there's a dead cat bounce in hockey when you fire a coach. And they got goaltending. The problem now is the goaltending appears to have abandoned them at the worst possible time.
Yep. I mean, goaltending is voodoo, and doesn't matter if it's Carter Hart or anybody else. You've got a guy that was an AHL goalie playing for Carolina that is now there for all intents and purposes. I would think they were crazy to do anything but start him the next game because he was phenomenal. I don't think there's any rhyme or reason to goaltending in 2026. Some people, you just ride your hot hand, and I don't think that. I think the days of the, Martin Brodeurs and obviously Dominic Hasek's are coming to a close, and teams are going to want multiple goalies available to them, and they're going to find who's running hot, and hopefully their recruitment pays off in spades there. But goaltending is such a it's a coach killer, it's a GM killer, it's a team killer, right? And there's no rhyme or reason to it.
So as we look forward here, I think we're getting an idea about, we'll have to find out who the coach is, but maybe a younger goaltender as the 1A or the backup. I think Connor Murphy probably signs. I don't think they'll go after Dickinson, but maybe they're looking for a forward who's a veteran and has a little more offensive finesse. Maybe somebody like Kyrou is the one that I use as an example. If it is Babcock, they'll be strong up the middle. Do you think they might check down from that Kyrou winger and pay the freight to pick up Dickinson, who would fit the Babcock template?
I think it depends on what happens with Darnell Nurse. I think is really the predicator for what happens with Dickinson. I think they will consider overpaying for him if Darnell Nurse's cap is not on the salary board anymore. And I don't know if they're going to be able to get that deal done or not. The rumors are all over the place. There's some suggestion that Philly could be interested, or maybe that was part of a larger Detroit deal, or yada, 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 yada. But I think that with Nurse's hit on the books, they're going to be really stingy with cap otherwise. And I think that they would probably try and update the top six rather than overpay for Jason Dickinson. The other thing that sort of is interesting to me is there's been some speculation for some time, and McDavid and Draisaitl have said this themselves, that they will play together next year. Yeah. So what do you do about your 2C in that situation? Because Draisaitl's your 2C, and other than him, you don't really have one. So how do you solve for that problem? And I'm not saying that, Kyrou really fits that bill, but do you not look to plug that hole instead if your intent is to play McDry together?
Yeah, I guess you could say, Nuge would be the number 2 center, and you put Hyman, you put Hyman and Kyrou with him, and you try to give him so much support on the wings. But I think that Nuge is at an age now where a softer minutes third line, where he could maybe penalty kill, power play. He's brilliant still in the power play. I think that's a better spot for him. And you can play him on the wing, but even that, his scoring with McDavid was down. I think we are reaching a point where Nuge probably plays third center or third left wing. Like I love him as a player, but I don't know that he's a guy you can put up against the elites and have him outscore the elites personally. If he's with McDavid, sure, but he was a little bit of a drag on McDavid's offense last year.
Yeah, I tend to agree, and I love Nugent Hopkins, right? Like,
it feels bad.
And Dad was a huge fan of him. I'm a big fan of him. And there's in corporate life, there's a thing about promoting people to mediocrity. And if you're playing Nuge at 2C, are you promoting him to mediocrity rather than putting him in a position of strength on 3C, where he is playing against a little softer competition and he can use his excellent hockey mind and defensive ability to shut down play a little bit more. I tend to agree that his results with McDavid were not that great last year. I do understand that maybe he had a couple of injuries going through the season that may have been a direct impact to that, but his results have lagged a little bit, and you have to wonder if they look at fixing that by putting Draisaitl with McDavid, which then leaves you with the whole 2C, 3C paradox to deal with. And I don't think Jason Dickinson or Ryan Nugent-Hopkins are 2Cs at this point.
No, I think that's very fair. All right, thanks for this. Appreciate it. You have a great week. We'll talk to you next Wednesday.
No worries. Have a good week, everyone.
There you go. That is our friend, Kevin McCurdy, talking about the Edmonton Oilers. And what may happen here. The one thing I'll say is there are wild rumors out there already. I'm just reading about reportedly individuals have been interviewed for the Edmonton Oilers head coaching job, and folks are saying, well, this is a new individual who was just interviewed recently. We don't know that. We don't know, haven't confirmed the name. I'm not going to say it. Let's stick with what we know. We'll get in less trouble that way, and we'll be able to keep the conversation in the factual as opposed to the fictional. These two guys over here, they read just fiction, but let's try to be nonfiction on the show as much as we can, especially as it pertains to the Edmonton Oilers and what they plan on doing. Okay, on the way, declinations at 1:40 today. It's going to be a hoops conversation, timely. The NBA final, a great final. Is this the best final of the century? I don't think it is.
No.
We talked about the NHL Stanley Cup final being among the best. But this is good, but not great, right?
No, this is great.
But it's just like we're talking 2016, we're talking 2013.
So you have other favorites from your formative years.
Not even favorites, just like objectively, I would say better series.
Mm-hmm.
Nodding.
I said, I gave 2.
I'm going to ask you, give me your best series of this century in the NBA final.
It's the 2016 final with a bullet.
Yeah.
All right.
But 2013 also has one in the chamber. But it is 2016 with a bullet.
Do you notice how I ask a question and then it just evolves into something else?
That's how conversation works, Al.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's the show. Lowdown with Lowetide, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick on Sports 1440 and YouTube.
Wondering what you can afford? Let go.
Back to Eichel covering the point. Shea Theodore's got it. Theodore shooting it, bouncing it foul to the head at the side of the net is champion. There's one the call. That one ricochet toward the net and in. A big shot by Nikolai Ehlers. And it's 5-3 Carolina.
Well, as you always expect, it's just chaos in front of the net is not only
Sunday. Or excuse me, Saturday. That's his biggest stop in a while. Lucian drop, backhand, scoop. Oh, it's in. And Jordan Stahl's got another. And the go-ahead goal. Thought Hart might have got a piece of that.
I don't think Stahl could believe that he was able to get enough of that one, just falling and twisting to the other side. Turnovers are the storyline, aren't they? Take advantage when you can. Well, just a beauty of it.
It's right to left field, the base hit. And Venezuela has walked it off for the Blue Jays.
Seen okay by Otamendi. Here once again is Molina. Craftily taken by Messi. Wriggling away from Ake and fiddling through a beautiful pass. It's a wonderful Argentina goal. Molina pounced. Messi cut him in half.
Steers, telehandlers, turf mowers, plus commercial trailers. Info at maauctions.com.
The Lowdown with Lowetide on Sports 1440. Author, musical connoisseur, sports know-it-all. Yes, a man for all seasons.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
Down on Sports 1440 for Wolf GMC Buick. Check them out, wolfgmcbuick.com. Proud to be sponsored by Wolf. Sheldon says, what is it about the Oilers that the team has become the last chance hotel? Players who no one else wants, Kane, Cassian, McTavish, Bowman, Babcock. I was kind of surprised Quenneville and Carter Hart didn't come here too. The league must be tired of Edmonton requesting permissions to hire other misbehaving hockey personalities. Are we that short of talent that we have to recruit all the lost causes? From Sheldon. Well, I want to talk to you a little bit about the names that you threw in there. I'm not going to be specific, but there is a name in there where I think that it's very important that we review and acknowledge what happened. Individual had made a major mistake, a costly mistake, and paid the price, paid the penance, showed a great deal of contrition and earned redemption, and then became not just a model citizen, but a model player, and then a model coach and manager. And I think when we bring up names from the past and we lump them all in together, and then we say, see, it happened before, we make the mistake of not treating every individual case on its own. So let's go back and review the words that I just said. Let's review contrition, redemption, earning redemption. Are you sorry? Are you genuinely sorry? Have you reached out? Have you made an effort? Have you, through your words and deeds and actions, shown that you have learned from the mistake. Everybody deserves forgiveness and redemption. From the time we were little children, we learned those lessons, and they're important because we're in a society, and you can't just. There are things you can never forgive, although we're taught to forgive. But there are things you can never forget, and maybe the individual can't move beyond in whatever industry they chose. But when those things are done, as some of the names you mentioned were done, we have to respect that. And we have to say that is an individual who, by the way, met with the family and did absolutely everything one would expect and want to have done in that situation. And so when we bring up the name, then we should also, as I have done, put together the entire story. And some of the story that I'm talking about involves things that we do not see in the story that we're talking about today. And those are important things to measure and to weigh when we're having this discussion. This is important stuff. This isn't just, throwing out a bunch of names so you can, get away with it and this guy will get through. That's not what this is about. This is important stuff for a society. And I think we should all have a more measured view of each of these instances and individually look at them. This is important, not just because it's sports, but because it dictates what we are as people. Are we so obsessed with like winning and those things that we are going to look past everything? And at what point does it become a bridge too far? And those things have to be asked all the time by everybody, because we are the society. We are the ones that choose what is too far and not far enough. And we better get it right, because if we have children, they're going to be living in the world that we are creating now. Every one of our children. And those guardrails are damned important. And so are words like redemption and forgiveness and contrition. And that's what we're talking about today. Not lumping everything together, but individually looking at what we would like to see and then what is occurring, and then comparing them and saying, well, wait a minute here. This hasn't happened and this hasn't happened. And why didn't this happen? This isn't just picking a fight for the point of it. This is real life things. And there are people who are victims, and there are people who might be future victims, and that's important stuff. I don't know how we can look past that, especially for a silly reason like winning. You want to win, of course, but at what cost? And I sometimes I read the text line and I'm like, where are we? And that's a concern I have. I really, truly do. And we'll find out. Life will go on. Everybody will find their way. And we'll get through this. But what we decide and what we talk about now, and if we just walk past this like it's nothing, then what happens next time? What thing next time is worth walking past? It's a slippery slope. It really is. Just a thought. This is Shutout 31. Just a thought. Could this Babcock hiring be something the Oilers do until Vegas gives teams approval to interview Cassidy, even if Babcock is only hired for 1 year, but only coaches for a few months? Is he just being hired to be fired? Shutout 31. I don't think so. Like, I don't think the Oilers really operate that way. People are piling on the Oilers right now, but they do things in a certain way. They spend the cap. They've wasted no money on, they'll spend on general managers. They've spent on coaches. They've spent on free agents. Once they target something, they go and get them. I think this is legit. I think Mike Babcock is their guy. If Cassidy came available today, I think they would still pursue this. That's my belief, based on watching the Oilers and observing them over many years. They may be wrong, but this is the conclusion they've come to. And I don't think they're not going to look back. I'm not going to mention a name of a coach who was interviewed because I haven't seen it from a credible source. If you can send me a link to a credible source, I'll mention the name. I don't understand why this is a done deal after one interview. Worst move ever. Will not pay money to see them again, Tractor Dave. With respect, Tractor Dave, we don't know how many interviews there were. We know that they, I think it's pretty clear he's talked to the owner, likely talked to management, and we have confirmation he's talked to the leadership group of the players. So this is not something that happened Tuesday. It's Wednesday, right?
Correct.
Yes. This is something that's been ongoing for a long time. The Oilers, after the season, they didn't go, oh, okay, let's put our feet up and we'll just relax a little bit and then we'll get after this in later June. They've been talking. They've been making lists, checking them twice. And, they obviously wanted to talk to Cassidy. And that was leaked, and they ended up firing Chris Knobloch. Well, they all run together. They were all young. And both of them had pretty good hair, I think.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough.
The Oilers organization has a long history of giving people a second chance when they need it most. There's also a fair argument to be made. Those second chances have all come with a degree of success from Norman. Yeah, I think that's a very fair point. I also think that individual cases have to be examined, on their own merit. And the things I talked about previously, go down the list. Is that all there? Folks, you can't cut corners and you can't sugarcoat. It is or it is not. And you have to decide. Everybody does. Everybody has to decide how they feel about it. And then I think you have to, if you're in media, you have to make that known. And that's what we've done here. And then after that, whatever occurs, we observe, we report, we chronicle. But that's what it is. Jordan says, does he deserve a second chance, though? What has he done to show he's changed? Is winning worth this? Great questions to ask. I don't have your answers.
This was brought up, I think, today, but definitely yesterday. It's not a second chance. This is at least a third chance.
Yep. We talked about that yesterday, too. Yeah. Well, the Columbus one was definitely a second chance. Even if you say, nobody knew about it until he got to Toronto. That would have been the second chance.
Yes.
Willing to speculate to no end about Babcock, but won't mention someone that may have been interviewed. The burglar, I talked about not passing along hearsay or gossip. It's important we get this right. Who is being interviewed? Have you seen a list? Can you send me a link? If you can, I'll mention it. It's an interesting name.
He did. It was Dennis Bernstein reported.
Okay, so Jim Hiller was interviewed, according to Bernstein, correct?
From Dennis Bernstein via Elliot Friedman.
Okay, via the fourth period and via Elliot Friedman. So that's an interesting name for lots of different reasons, because that's a connection to, if I'm correct on this, that's a direct connection to Babcock. Am I right? Yeah, Toronto Maple Leafs assistant coach and Detroit Red Wings assistant coach. So he would have been with Babcock in both cities. In 14-15, the Detroit Red Wings had Babcock was the head coach, Jim Hiller, Tony Granato, Jim Bedard, Andrew Brewer. Those are names you might want to keep in mind, some of them. And then in 15-16, it was Babcock, Andrew Brewer, Jim Hiller, DJ Smith, another interesting name, Steve Briere, Ryan Ward. All of them interesting names. So there are other names, and that's a Hiller's been assistant coach for a long time, head coach last year for the Los Angeles Kings, his third year. He had a really good year, 48 wins in 24-25. They lost in the first round, but who did they lose to in the first round? Who was that?
What are we talking about right now?
Los Angeles Kings.
Oh, they lost in 2024? Oh,
24-25.
Let's see. It was the Avalanche this year.
Say it, Josh.
Oilers. Did they lose the Oilers 4 times in a row or 3 times in a row?
It was a
Oilers.
lot
All
in a
right. So
row.
their last 5 playoff losses
Yeah.
from 2 franchises. 1 franchise 4 times.
Yeah.
Is that good?
What? Well, he won 49 games. That's a really good regular season, and then he came up against a really good team in the first round of the playoffs. I think you could sell that. I don't know if you'd get the job, but I think you could sell it.
Yeah.
And then I want to thank very much Ed, who did send me in confirmation. I appreciate that. Not understanding. True leadership is about protecting your value system, from Corey. Oh, I'm sorry. He read a much larger piece up here. If the NHL has any semblance of belief in they need to protect mental health of all involved in the league. Well, there are legalities to this too, right? We're talking about this a lot, but you really can't keep an individual from being employed in their industry of choice if you don't have any reason to. Now, there's an investigation going on, and we'll see, but I think most of us believe Babcock will be hired. This is the Carter Hart thing all over again. People text all the time and say, "Why is he playing?" Well, you have to remember there was a trial, and the result was he was free to sign, and he did. And so that's the process. You may not like it, but that's the process that takes place. And Carter Hart is playing in the National Hockey League because the NHL, team signed him into a contract. That's the way our society works. We have a trial, either by judge or jury. There's a verdict, and then everybody proceeds accordingly. Winchester says, I just listened to your talk about redemption, moral judgment, and finding facts. Actually missed one. People missed the law. There are people on that list that are found not guilty. They do not need to apologize to anyone. You're right, Winchester. You're right. There are people who were found guilty and moved on with their lives. And I think that in a society, we judge them to have been, gone through what we expect them to, and they are, full members of society in good standing, and many have flourished, and we're delighted for that. We rejoice in that. So it's a complicated issue. I know we all have our points of view, and I hope that we've reflected that and been respectful to everybody. We're going to move on, though, because we have declinations, the fun time on the way. We're talking the round ball straight ahead. Lowdown with Lowetide, brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick.
Rooter buries evidence in the desert.
I didn't mean to do it. I was forced into it. Yeah, forced. But now, no one will ever know. You've done well, Mr. Rooter. You did something awful, but you've covered your tracks. It's done. The last transcript that shows I did a semester of electrician school.
Uncover evidence of the proudest plumber, Mr. Rooter.
Our new McCafe crafted sodas just drinks or something more. Like Sprite Berry Bliss, Creamy Strawberry Coke, and Orange Dream. All swirled with fizzy flavor and topped with silky cold foam. Only at McDonald's. At participating McDonald's restaurants in Canada.
The Riverhawks are back. This week brings a Theater Kid Takeover, a cottage-themed Pride Night, and Sunday's Summertime Santa Toy Drive for Santa's Anonymous. Don't miss the party at the ballpark. Get tickets at gohawks.ca.
You've got better things to do than wait for an oil change. Jiffy Lube gets you in and out fast. No appointment necessary. All you have to do is roll into a location near you, and we'll take care of the rest. Every full synthetic oil change at Jiffy Lube is warranty approved and comes with a 20-point visual inspection, making sure you get back on the road safely. Find your neighborhood Jiffy Lube today. Visit jiffylubeservice.ca.
Missioner Allen Auctioneering's next Calgary, Edmonton, Winnipeg Public Unreserved Industrial Auction is next Friday at 9 a.m., featuring a large selection of 2020 to 2014 Caterpillar, John Deere, and Volvo articulated dump trucks. Info at maauctions.com.
Hey there, I'm in the Fountain Tire sidecar, making a list of the things I'm doing this spring. 1. Saving you money, with up to 20% off select tires until June 13th. 2. Water skiing, tricky in a sidecar, but fun. And 3, saving you more money with mail-in rebates of up to $100 off a set of 4 select tires and $50 off a $150 service with the purchase of 4 select tires. Oh, that's 4 things. Oh well, restrictions apply. Book online at fountaintire.com. Fountain Tire. We're on this road together, Canada.
He's the only person to win an arm wrestling contest with the Philly Fanatic. The Lowdown with Lowetide, now on Sports 1440.
Presented by Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy. WolfGMCBuick.com.
It's 142 Lowdown with Lowetide. Brought to you by Wolf GMC Buick. 0% financing right now up to 72 months at wolfgmcbuick.com. It's on select 2026 Sierra 1500 models. All right, we're cruising on down to the NBA final game number 4. And just in time, it's Declinations brought to you by the Edmonton Elks. The Edmonton Elks home opener June 20th. It's going to be big. Lock in your tickets now at goelks.com/tickets. All right, sir. Where are we going on the round ball?
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about a couple of things. One, what's at stake for each of these teams or players on their teams in this final? And then let's talk some keys to the game, some things to avoid. So, Josh. Sorry, and Lowetide. I say Josh because I think he's more of a basketball fan.
You guys are
Sorry,
more
it's just-
far. I am an observer, and I'll throw in something about El Sunder if I feel like it. That's it. Go ahead.
What's at stake here, I think, for the New York Knicks is a couple of things, namely when you talk about Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns. I think Karl Anthony Towns is a guy who's been in the league, who has always been thought of as a very, very good player, but not someone you could ever really win a championship with as one of the best players on the team and someone who has kind of empty numbers. He has a chance to dispel that narrative. Now, on a grander scale, Jalen Brunson has a chance to put himself into beyond rarefied air. Like, there have only been 2 quote unquote small players to lead their team to championships: Steph Curry and Isaiah Thomas. That's the list. There have been some great guards out there, but they were either, like second fiddle on the team or never got it done, a la like a John Stockton, Allen Iverson, Chris Paul. So Jalen Brunson has a chance to elevate his stock into all-time rarefied air as one of the bona fide best small players ever. For the Spurs, I think if they lose this series, because I've talked about this, I've been very open about this for the last 3 years since he was drafted, Lowetide. I think Wemby is a guy who can put himself in GOAT conversations.
Mm-hmm.
But if he loses this final, there will be people who will keep him out of the GOAT conversations because of Jordan's perfect record. So those are a couple of the things that I think are at stake for these big name players in this series. What say you two?
That seems harsh, but I guess if Jordan is the the GOAT, and it's like boxing. If you're 37-1, you still got the one. I think that's pretty hard. It's still a team game, right?
But you know what? In basketball, it's not like if you're an all-time great player, you win it.
Okay, but is this team better without Jordan without the Bulls, but that Bulls team, is it better than Wemby without, with this team without Wemby?
Is that Bulls team better without Jordan, or the Spurs team better without Wemby?
Right.
I mean, they're different for sure. It's a different era as well. They're constructed differently.
The Bulls are better.
Yeah, the Bulls, listen, that 94-95 season, they were kind of a missed call away in that Knicks series from going back to the NBA Finals. Or 93-94, sorry. So, yeah, probably the Bulls. And Scottie Pippen, obviously, one of the top 35 players ever, top 40 players ever. I don't think the Spurs have anyone who's going to reach those heights on this team. So, yeah, probably the Bulls.
Okay. So do we factor that in at all? Or is it just, as you said, if you're the greatest, you win no matter what?
Nobody factors it in for LeBron. So, no, doesn't matter.
That's a very, very high bar.
We're all aware.
But so then Jordan will always be like...
No, it depends on who you ask. Like, we could go out through the mall right now and say who's the GOAT, LeBron or Jordan, and you'd probably get a 50. You'd probably get a 50-50 split.
No, I think it's LeBron.
Okay, congrats. Like, I cannot decide at this point.
Well, let's shift the conversation to some keys to the game.
Correct.
Because when I think about what the San Antonio Spurs need to do, and they did this in the first quarter of game 3, Wemby needs to be involved in low post offenses. And I get that Wemby is a very versatile player and that he can come out and play on the perimeter and he can handle it a little bit. And we've seen him actually hit some crazy threes that you wouldn't expect a guy of his stature to hit. But you basically, Josh made the point, you basically play a 4-guard lineup. You do not need your 7'4" center who you can throw. Listen, we talk about catch radius with NFL wide receivers. You can throw that ball anywhere near the rim and Wemby's going to get a lob for an alley-oop. You do not need him playing on the perimeter. You do not need him playing on the elbow. You need him playing in the low post. You need to feed him down there. You need to let your guards, who are very shifty, create space on the perimeter, beat their man, swing the ball, take the shots, whatever they want to do. But you cannot have a guy with that size playing that far out, because the other thing is what happens then is like Karl Anthony Towns, let's just say he's the primary defender. He's not a great defender, but what it allows is when, like, the way the rest of San Antonio's offense is situated, everyone is allowed to fade and collapse when Wemby does make his move towards the paint. And that's just not conducive to what San Antonio does. So their number one key to the game, I would say, Wemby needs to be in that low post.
Yeah, here's some stats to back it up. Obviously, this is from the All NBA podcast. It's a podcast with Tim Legler, who's currently not on it because he's doing color for the NBA Finals.
Unbelievable basketball mind, by the way.
Super smart. And so, like, this is his, like, brand, essentially. It's Wemby's average shot distance and effective field goal percentage by game in the finals. Game 1, he was 17.3 feet away for a 33.3% effective field goal percentage.
I'm getting
Game
pissed.
2, 13.2 feet for 57.1 effective field goal percentage. And in Game 3, he was an average of 10.6 feet away for 66.7% effective field goal percentage.
This is kind of like if Connor McDavid only took slap shots from the blue line.
Yeah.
Or like those numbers were his slap shot from the blue line shots.
So,
but he's getting closer to the net.
Yeah, he is.
Or the basket.
We've seen in this series where I think it was game 1, might be wrong. Spurs were up by double digits.
That was game 1 and game 2.
So, like,
and game 3.
We've talked about them being a young team. Is that an excuse if they do that again, or is this like, man, you got to be battle hardened?
Yes and no.
Okay,
they are still young. They're
just so we're clear.
They're yes and no. They're a young team. They're prone to mistakes. It's just sort of the way it is because
they've grown up quickly.
They have grown up quickly, and they oh my God, adjust quickly.
Right.
Game by game, you see them getting better and better. And
don't you like your brain when the word comes to you like that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I did not have to look to Declan to get the word like out of him to say it. They adjust very well. Wemby specifically is a guy that adjusts very well. Think back to the Timberwolves series. They guarded him so hard in the first game and the second game, in which he fouled out of the second game, I believe. But then the next game, he had a 30-point double-double. Like, and this is what we've seen with the Knicks now, is if he can figure it out, then he leads the way for everybody else. And then on top of that, the Knicks had a 13-game win streak in the NBA playoffs. That is crazy.
Right.
You have now burst that bubble. Maybe there's a little bit of like, if you can make God bleed, people will cease to believe in him.
Right.
Crazy line from Iron Man 2, by the way. But
which was that's a Brad Pitt movie, right?
No.
Okay.
Robert Downey Jr., Mickey Rourke's in it.
By the way, I love Robert Downey Jr.
He's great. Talk about redemption.
Yes.
That's why I still believe in the Spurs, because I think there's a little bit of you've now gotten that chink in the armor. Oh, hey, We gave them a loss.
Yeah.
In Madison Square Garden.
With a lot of help from the refs.
With a lot of help from the refs.
I still don't think it's as bad as you're making it out to be.
It's terrible.
I agree. Not as bad as you're making it out to be, but in reality, the Spurs need to get less calls. It's not that the Knicks need to get more calls. It's the Spurs need to get less.
How much did they lose by?
4.
Right.
Correct.
4. And
the free throws were before we finish, I really want to get to this. Josh, lead the dance on some keys to the game for the Knicks.
Keys to the game for the Knicks. Jalen Brunson, you have to get the ball out to get down to Cap more, because you can get the assists going, and then they're worried about your passing game. Then that opens the floor up for you to score as well. Mikal Bridges, just keep doing what you're doing. Stay out of foul trouble. Same for everybody else. When you're defending, you got to stay out of foul trouble. And Miles McBride, just keep doing what you're doing, baby. Just come out there, be an energy guy.
I don't love the corner 3 fadeaways for Miles McBride, but other than that, I like you. You're doing well. That's not your game, Mr. McBride, so maybe cut that out, but everything else, I like what you're doing.
Have you ever shot that shot? Evidently he has. He made a couple of them. Yeah, but that's really what it is Jalen Brunson just has to get people involved in the offense early so that they take his passing more seriously at the end of the game.
Right. Are we done?
Yes.
Yeah, but I got to hit the outro music here like we're right away.
Okay, I'm just going to give an update. Rays won. They're at 40 wins. Yankees winning. I think that puts them to 41 wins. Don't worry, fans. Jays play tonight. If they win, there'll be 34 wins. So in the loss column, they're about 10 games back. But that's okay. It's a long year. They just need a 10-game winning streak. It'll be fine. They're on their way, and they are getting pitching now. So should be good. Springer's in the lineup today. Clement. That kid, Penango. Let's Tango. Valenzuela, who I love, the catcher. They got Straw, too. Well, Scherzer pitching tonight, so it should be fun. All right. Thanks so much for tuning into the Lowdown. Another day talking about Mike Babcock. There are some new wrinkles in the story, and stay tuned. Jason Krueger will give you the latest on that, and some new names emerging as possible, somebody who's been interviewed and as a possible head coaching option for these Edmonton Oilers. Thanks so much for tuning into the Lowdown. Bagged Milk will be our guest tomorrow, among other things. Please enjoy your day.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Brought to you by Sean Cunningham of Remax Real Estate. Get the home team advantage. Your next move in the Edmonton area. If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, call or text Sean directly, 780-265-0165. The NHL is moving ahead, quote unquote, with a Babcock investigation following a request from the NHLPA. In the sporting world tonight, we will see the San Antonio Spurs and New York Knicks in Game 4 of the NBA Finals. A 6:30 p.m. tip for that one. In the NHL, action will resume tomorrow. Game 5 out in Carolina with the series, of course, tied 2-2 and a 6 p.m. puck drop. In the MLB, one final from earlier saw the Rays over the Red Sox 7-5. As Lowetide mentioned, 2 games right now. Yankees over the Guardians 8-3 in the bottom of the 9th. And the Nats and Giants tied 0-0 in the bottom of the 1st. Cincinnati and San Diego will go in about 15 minutes time. And at 5:07, the Toronto Blue Jays will play host to the Philadelphia Phillies. Max Scherzer on the bump. You can listen to that one here, Sports 1440 AM dial only. And the Edmonton Riverhawks took on the Victoria Harbor Cats earlier today. And we'll play again tomorrow at 7:05. I'm Declan Krueger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station.